Hello and welcome to Flashback, a look at stories from years gone by. We all know the old saying, a bridge over troubled waters. But how about a troubled bridge over calm waters? The Hagwilget Bridge was in desperate need of repairs, so much so that the mayor of Hazelton at the time thought the infrastructure was unsafe. Let's dig back into our archives, taking you to 1988.
The Hagwilget Suspension Bridge over the Bulkley River near Hazelton and the view from it are staggering. But while it presents an attraction that draws busloads of tourists, not everyone is completely taken with the bridge. The Village Council of Hazelton, a community that depends on that bridge for access to Highway 16, has been pushing for a modern two-lane structure.
Well, the new crossing that we want won't actually be over Hagwilget Canyon. It will be downstream a bit from this and go more towards South Hazelton. This bridge we have been worried about for a long time because we realized that the loads that were presently being hauled over it were far in excess of what the bridge was built to stand. And so we've been asking for a long time that it be made safe. When Highways finally came in and investigated, they found that indeed it was in bad shape and promised that this spring we would have the repairs done, the necessary refurbishing and strengthening done, as well as having our other crossing be put on a high priority list. Because of lack of steel or probably too short a time to organize a project that like this became, they haven't been able to do the work this spring. And so here we are, faced with a whole summer of waiting again and worrying all the time about just exactly what day this bridge is going to fall in when the big logging truck just is the last straw on the camel's back. And it's just becoming such a nuisance to us because it's forever having to be closed and fixed and closed and fixed, and it disrupts every community that uses it in this area.
You said something about a logging truck falling through. Do you believe the bridge is unsafe to carry the traffic that's on it?
I'm sure the bridge is unsafe to carry the traffic that's on it, and that was the reason that we had, first of all, those funny little flags that they put on here to keep people in the middle of the bridge, and now we have these big logs on the side, and the logs were the last resort and not something that the highways wanted to put on there because they didn't think that the bridge should have that additional weight on there.
This suspension bridge was built more than 50 years ago, but is by no means the only structure that spanned the canyon. Doug Aberle is administrator for the village and has familiarized himself with the history of crossings at Hagwilget.
As far as we know, there's been 5. In 1872, when the first photographer came through here, he took a picture of a bridge made by the Giksan and the Wet'suwet'en peoples, and it's just up the canyon from the present site. It was made entirely of cedar trees and tied together with cedar rope. It was a terror bridge, the first explorers called it. After the 1860s, when the Collins Overland Telegraph came through here, the bridge at the same site was heavied up with the telegraph cable that was abandoned when the telegraph line was made inoperative. And then in the early 1900s, there was another bridge built down the canyon, and that was because of the mines that were in the Hazelton area. And the ore wagons would come through off the mountains through 2 Mile and down onto a bridge that was quite low to the water. And the horses couldn't pull the heavy ore wagons back up the canyon. So a little while later, they built a rather narrow bridge at this site. And it was just wide enough for a wagon, and it was scary as can be. From what I gather, it swayed back, 10 feet back and forth in the wind with horses, and quite dangerous. So that bridge was, in the early 1930s, taken out and put in at Walcott as a footbridge. And in the early 1930s, they built the present bridge, all out of steel, and it's been here ever since.
Aberle adds the first known bridge, one built by the native people, was a structure well ahead of its time.
So that first Indian bridge, I should add, was a combination cantilever and suspension span. The native people had developed technology in bridge building that was unknown in Europe up until in the 1900s. so they were quite advanced in their desire to get across this canyon.
That desire to cross the canyon remains strong today, with people from all parts of the Hazelton area crossing for work and school and day-to-day activities.
Approximately 3,000 people on this side of the river. We have 100 logging trucks a day that cross this river. We have the hospital, the high school, all medical services for the Hazelton area. And if this bridge is closed down, as it has been, this is the third major closure in less than a year. We have several more closures we've heard rumors about. If the bridge is closed, we're stranded here.
So now plans are in place both to retrofit the existing suspension bridge and to at least design a new crossing a couple of kilometers downstream. But Mayor Maitland says there's a need for more than just plans.
Those are good plans. The plans are wonderful. What we'd like to see is some action. So we've written and written and written, and we do always get answers, but to Victoria, a one-lane bridge in a small community like Hazelton doesn't seem to be as crucial, but to our community it is really a crucial crossing. If this bridge were to break down and we couldn't go across it, the nearest one is 40 miles down the highway at Hagwilget with a back road that's in very bad repair. And for emergencies, this hospital is the only hospital in this area. So it leaves people with, well, stranded. It's a necessary lifeline to keep us together. People from the other side of the river work in Hazelton. People from Hazelton work on the other side of the river. The resources on this side of the river, the manufacturing on that side. It's just necessary that we be able to cross this river.